see all of you here. I hope we can find comfort in each other's company during this difficult time. It's been said that when a parent dies, you lose your past. When a child dies, you lose your future. Death itself is tragic. It's just not the way things are supposed to be. But even more so when a young person dies. We are here to celebrate the life and times of my son, Christian Nicholas Reimer, and to mourn together the tragic loss of a young man we all love. Christian was born on August 11, 1992. He just turned 20 years old 2 months ago. Along with being a son, Christian was also a brother, father, nephew, grandson, cousin, uncle, and a friend to those of you here. I'm certain that your grief is no less intense than mine. I have so many wonderful memories of Christian. I'd like to share some of them. Christian was a very warm, generous, and kind human being. He had the gift of gab, and he loved people. The warmth that he had with people was such a great quality of his. He could absolutely charm anyone he wanted to. It was amazing to see. Even at a young age, he was the leader of his friends. He was popular and had a lot of friends. Everyone knew Christian. Kids came around just to be near him. He had a magical personality that charmed us all in a way, and he was charming until the end. It came naturally to him. When Christian was very young, he was the baby of the family until his little brother Jacob was born 4 years later. I often made this duck sound to him just to be silly. I won't do it here, but it kind of sounded like "quee-quee."
Yeah, I do.
And for some reason that stuck, and it became his nickname when he was small. Everyone called him "quee-quee." He will forever be our little
Now it's
quee-quee.
creek.
One of his impressive skills, at least to me, was his ability to fix things. He could fix nearly anything, especially bicycles. During his early teen years, he was always trading and swapping out parts on his bike. It's almost like every time you saw him, he had a wrench in one hand and some kind of bike part in the other. This was no small talent. I always thought he would make a fantastic automobile or airline mechanic someday. He often helped me around the house, cleaning the pool, mowing the lawn, and other household chores. He always did a great job. This spoke volumes about him. He did things well and he did them right. He gave immaculate attention to detail, even in seemingly insignificant tasks. He had character. Christian, like many young people, enjoyed playing video games. He was really good at them. It was impossible to beat him. I know this sounds strange, but it really was impressive. He had this crazy 3D spatial ability and supernatural hand-eye coordination. It was something to behold. He also loved fishing. You might see a fishing picture or two here, and he was talented at it. He used to have a kayak that I would put in the back of my truck and take him down to the causeway so we could fish from it. When I returned to get him a couple hours later, he would always have a great story to tell. Christian traveled pretty wide in his all too short life. I thought about where he'd been. He's been as far south as Fort Myers, as far north as Maine, as far west as Utah, and as far east as Barcelona, Spain. Christian was a great traveling companion. He was always cheerful, funny, and ready for adventure. Sometimes on our trips, everybody was really tired from travel and just wanted to get some rest. Not Christian. He was always ready to go. It's like he instinctively knew that it was no ordinary moment and wanted to experience it to the fullest. I always thought you could tell a lot about someone by taking a trip with them. This was revealing about Christian's great personality. There's no one that you'd rather have on a trip with you than him. He also took the trip of a lifetime to Europe in 2009 with his wonderful grandparents, Maurice and Rosemary Decker, who are with us today. They are two of absolutely the nicest people I know, and it's their generosity that made this ceremony possible. They adored Christian, and he loved them back with all his heart. They come here all the way from Champaign, Illinois. Please, if you get a chance, say hello to them. Thank you, Maurice and Rosemary, for everything.
Oh, there.
One of Christian's favorite TV shows was the Discovery Channel program called I Almost Got Away With It. I watched it almost every day. I Almost Got Away With It followed the stories of fugitives doing everything they could to escape prison. The best and the brightest in law enforcement were after them, and their tales of life on the run were truly unbelievable. Christian loved those stories, and since it was what he usually had on, I watched some of them too. The show was really well done. I wonder, though, if he somehow sensed it was a metaphor for his own life. He was kind of a fugitive from his own emotions. There was a suspense as to whether he would make it, but you can't run away from yourself. Maybe if you happen to see the show sometime, it will give you an insight into his soul. Christian died driving in a single-car automobile accident on the highway at 12:50 a.m. Thursday, November 1st. I've heard speculation that Christian did it on purpose.
Oh.
I don't think it's true. He didn't want to die. I think he just wanted to be free.
Amen.
The longing to be free can be found at the core of every man's being. Christian was just trying to live like a man, in control of his destiny and free from the burden he carried inside. Driving made him feel free. So even while he did not have fundamental control of his own inner world, he could control this big thing, a car. He was simply trying to feel like a man. Christian's life was and is, in a sense, a cautionary tale. A cautionary tale is a tale told in folklore to warn its hearer of danger. Christian was pursuing freedom, but looking for it in the wrong places and in ways that were self-destructive. I've had first-hand experiences with the pain and heartache that addiction can cause a family to suffer. I've also learned from these experiences that addiction is a disease that we make stronger by the choices we make, but a disease nonetheless. Christian suffered from a disease. Combined with youthful folly, it just overwhelmed him. Our family reached out to Christian. If only Christian had reached out more himself. He just didn't know how. I think he thought it was an act of weakness to ask for help. But it's really an act of strength, because it's so hard to do. I've often wished that he would cry, express his grief more. His burden was so heavy. Everything was bottled up. It's okay to cry, even if you're a man. As a close, I'd like to read something that my cousin and childhood friend Brian Harris wrote me recently. He lost his older brother, my cousin Mark, many years ago. Brian was only 10 years old. He writes, "Yes, I remember certain moments during the time when we lost Mark, like it was yesterday. Yet it was over 40 years ago, and I was 10. The surreal sense of it all is still in my memory, as it is with you. I'm sure you can relate only too keenly. Is this happening? When might I wake up? And yet you don't. I recall a sense of not knowing what I should do next, just in the sense of what should I do today? You're in mourning, you mill around. Do I turn on the TV? Do I go to the store to get milk? What am I supposed to do? What should I do? And yet all the while, the huge gaping wound remains fresh, never far away from the top of your mind. You're waiting to heal, but it takes what seems eternity. Let me say this, you will find a way through this, Gary. As you're finding, this is one of the epic difficulties you'll ever encounter. It'll never be the same, of course, now that he's gone at such a tragically young age. I still to this day think of things like Mark turning 60 and what my big brother would be doing, what he'd have done with his life. But I know he wanted me to keep going and moving forward. You and your family will do the same, because in the end, it's all you can do. My cousin is right. Christian would have wanted us all to continue with our lives and be happy. Now we are left with the hard part of doing so. I think about Christian's mother, Lois. Christian will always be her baby. She tried so hard to get him the help he needed, but it always seemed just out of reach. I feel your pain, Mom Lois. I know how difficult this is for you. He loved you so much. Christian would have wanted you to move forward with your life and to be happy. I think about Christian's baby son, Christian Jr., who was making all the noise earlier. Christian Jr.'s first birthday was only 5 weeks ago. He reminds me so much of his father when he was a baby. He's a very precocious 1-year-old. I was amazed the last time he visited us at the house. He acted a lot more like a 2-year-old than having just turned 1. Christian loved his son. On his son's first birthday, Christian Sr. went to the mall to buy his son some shoes as a gift. The shoes were nice and pretty expensive. He was just so determined to get a gift for his son and to somehow show him how much he loved his little boy. He loved the rest of his friends and family as well. He may not have said it directly, but I'm completely certain of this fact. I want to tell you all of this.
Amen.
He loved you all. I believe now he has finally found the peace that was somehow so elusive to him in his life. Please continue to keep the memory of Christian alive in your thoughts and hearts. I read something recently. Memories are the precious gifts of the heart. We need these memories and whispers to help create a sense of inner peace and closeness. Please remember my beautiful son, Christian Nicholas Reimer.
Amen. Amen.